Welcome to Warriors at Work. This is Jeanie Coomber, your guide and host. Warriors at Work is a place where everyone in the workplace can come together, gain insight, encouragement, tell stories, connect, and share wisdom. We are a place of like-minded people at different stages of life, all coming together with a shared interest of enlightening and inspiring one another. If you're interested in going from the predictable to the potent, and you want to find your warrior magic, step into the journey with us. Welcome to Warriors at Work.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for being here with me at the Warriors at Work show. So I'm wrapping up the year and I wanted to serve up a present to all of you. So what I did was I started thinking about, what does year end really mean? It means different things to different people. And I got fascinated by the different interpretations of year end, but also what were the rituals and practices that people had to help them reflect on the year, which is a common theme you're going to hear. But really, what does it mean? Why do it at all? And how does that really set you up for the year coming? So what I did was I reached out to a bunch of people that I've interviewed over the course of 2021, as well as some people in my network that I haven't interviewed that I just am fascinated by their story. And we did really short 5-minute interviews about what does year end mean to you? What are your rituals and practices, and why does it matter? How does it help you in your life and in your business? And I thought this would be a fun way to serve up something to all of my amazing warriors in this community, because I know you're all very reflective beings. You're all looking for greater consciousness, happier lives, more balance, more influence. But more than anything, you want to continue showing up as this soulful person who's aligned, attuned, and doing their very best to have the most effective experience here on Earth. So I serve up to you some of the people from the Warrior Magic community over the course of 2021. All of it, as always, in service to all of you incredible people. So be well, have a magical year end. Enjoy.
Year end for me is all about reflection. I used to pre-COVID, I feel like we would just get so busy with parties and all kinds of things, but I feel like COVID has given us this awesome opportunity to reset that pattern of crazy holiday time to slowing it way down. We have both sets of our family here, so it's still a bit busy, but we try really hard to have some time for just our family. So it's a lot about kind of reflecting back on what's happened prior. And I think, I'm lucky to live in a place that has 4 seasons. So it's cold here in the winters in Colorado. So it just naturally, it's like go inside. I want to be inside. I don't want to be out all the time doing all kinds of things. So it just naturally forces me and us, I think, to kind of quiet down and bring it in.
Do you do it actually on 12/31, or is it part of the whole holiday season?
I think the whole holiday season. I mean, I think just, again, I feel like I respond so much to the weather, if it's shifting outside, then naturally I don't want to be out driving around doing all kinds of crazy things. It feels just normal and natural to be inside. And then as a result of that, it's like the cozy, you just kind of journal more, read more, tea, like all the warm kind of hygge. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you think of 2021,
yeah.
Just tell me gut reaction. What's one reflection, one highlight that's going to come to you?
Launching my book.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. I had a big old party called Dream and on this beautiful farm. And even though the pandemic was happening, it was outside. So lots of people showed up and it just felt like, it was like a major life accomplishment for me. So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, what rituals and practices do you have?
Yeah, I have a lot of my rituals and practices at the end of the year are around family. So we have funny little things like I make monkey bread on Christmas morning, and that's like a big deal for my kids, so little things like, yeah, it's so good. So little things like that, all the way to going up to the mountains. We try to pull away and go up to the mountains during the end of the year. I love meditating in the morning by the Christmas tree when it's totally quiet and dark in the house, but just the Christmas tree is on. There's something for me that's brings me back to my childhood and makes me feel really like calm and peaceful. I love turning the fire on. So just like simple little things that that have big impact on just kind of slowing it down a little bit. But I think it's okay to have space for the sadness too, because the holidays has a lot of joy, but it also has a lot of like forced joy from the external.
Yes.
And
Forced
so,
joy.
yeah.
Mandatory fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it's nice to be like, maybe it's okay to feel a little sad, and it feels like an honoring of whatever is coming,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And how do you find that those rituals and practices help you in your life, in your business?
Yeah. I think that there's just so much value in the slowdown of this time of year. My business really slows down in December, and I'm grateful for that, because then I can go into the new year kind of kicking and ready for more, because I've had this pause and this reset. I've had this time to kind of really just focus on my family and focus on the things that are more important to me, slowing down. So I think it helps me personally, because I come back feeling more energized and more inspired because I took a break, because I went slower. If that makes sense.
And what are you going to do when you think about your holiday time period? Is there anything special that you're excited to do?
We're going to go up to the mountains. We're going to take a trip. We're going to go to Disney with my kids, which is really exciting. Those are the big things. I mean, beyond that, I think we're just kind of relaxing and hanging out at home, which I'm excited for that. Frankly, I look forward to skiing and monkey bread, all the basics. Another thing I do at the end of the year that I love so much is I make like a photo book of the past year, and look, it's like even looking through your phone at all the photos that you took of the last year is such a fun way to reflect on what has happened. And so making that photo book for me is like this ritualistic, and I know maybe it's like outdated or something. People probably just do videos these days, but I like the actual hard copy that you look at. So that's kind of this ritual that I have done for years since I've had kids, that it helps me kind of be like, oh yeah, we did have a really awesome year.
Well, I mean, year end for me sort of takes two dimensions. One would be sort of a personal year end, and then from a business year end. Year end for me, at least traditionally, kind of began in September. I mean, I feel like typically the way I've orchestrated planning and what have you at the business is that we're talking about strategic planning in September or October. And frankly, the year from a revenue perspective or whatever sort of economic objectives you're hitting, those are already kind of locked in. So the year is kind of already over, as it were, in sort of September or October. On a personal level, year end for me always is a great time of reflection. I'm comfortable looking back. And usually, because I've been doing this as a cadence for most of my adult life, I'm looking back at goals and objectives that I set for myself early, if not late in the previous year, early in the new year. And like, where do I stand? Like, how has it gone? And what things kind of took me off track? And what are some of the things I'm proud of? And were things that I set out for myself maybe more ambitious than I thought. They're more difficult to accomplish than I thought they would be. And what can I learn from that?
What about any rituals or practices that you have that you do at year end? Again, personally or professionally?
Well, on a personal level, I actually am pretty ritualistic about this whole sort of thing. So I do keep a journal, and I will spend several days very late in the year, and typically even going into the new year, going back and looking at that journal page by page, day by day, trying to think about what happened that day. It's not a long time. It might be 4 hours of time that I kind of commit to that. And that also helps me frame out the sort of goals and objectives and aspirations I have for myself going forward into the next year. And my journals are very busy. Not only do they have writing in them, I have like the little photo printer. So sometimes I'll print a couple pictures here and there that I've taped into the book. It could be an invitation to somebody's wedding, what have you. And so that's actually a very big ritual for me. The other ritual that my family has, and I hope that they don't mind me sharing this publicly, but we have something we call the grid. And the grid is set up as you might think as a grid, as a box. And down one side are the initials of all my family members who participate in the Christmas and New Year's holidays. And then across the top is the same initials going from left to right and going from top to bottom. And you say what it is that you wish for each other, and you can wish for yourself. in the coming year. And then the second grid is what do you think you could be working on to improve yourself? And we do that every year. It's very loving. But it's also very constructive and instructive in some ways, because people are saying things about you that you don't necessarily think about yourself. And sometimes in a very positive way, like you should spend more time doing X because you show so much passion and energy when you're engaged in that sort of thing.
And how does this ritual and practice help you in your life and or your business?
Well, it's a calming. I think it helps me in both ways because it's a calming thing for me. I think looking back, we all experience. My family, we call it the Sunday scaries. A lot you've experienced at 2:30 a.m. Like, why am I up and why am I thinking about all the things that could possibly be going wrong in my life? It gives you a chance to go back and think, this year, I'm going to spend less time worrying about stuff like that, because life has a way of just carrying you through it, especially if you're surrounded by people who love you or work with people who are of high integrity and people that you admire, whatever the equivalency is. A lot of things are going to take care of themselves. And worry is this really interesting human, I don't think it's really an emotion, but this human behavior that I think comes out of deep programming for us, is when we're all surviving on the savannah or in caves. It's a really, really, for the most part, useless investment of energy. And so I use it as a way to calm myself down. I use it as a way to look forward and say, how can I be better?
Year end to me is a wonderful time to do two things. And I think a lot of people are doing this at this time of year. One is to reflect, look back on what I enjoyed, what felt challenging, what I'm proud of, what was exciting, tapping into those emotional peaks and valleys to inform what's ahead. So in addition to reflection, there's also a dreaming piece that I like to incorporate into my end of year. What's to come? What do I want the year to be? As I've gone on this entrepreneurial journey, becoming a coach and getting a lot of coaching myself, I've really embraced this concept of living life by design instead of by default. And so the end of the year, I like to do this daily, but the end of the year is really a fun time, especially as work slows down a bit. People are checking into themselves and their families. A good time to look ahead and just get excited. What can I dream up? What do I want to create? And what might be in store?
So do you have any rituals or practices in particular that you do?
I just started one that I will do in the future for this year. My coach gave me the assignment of working on my 2022 business plan. And when I was in a company, that was really easy because you had the template and it was just, complete the template for 2022. Typically, it was like, do a lot of what you did last year, make it a little better, cut what didn't work, right?
The goals. Yeah.
But now I run my own business. I have so much more flexibility. It's really a white canvas, which is both exciting and a little bit scary. And I found myself thinking, how do I do this? How do I author this in a way that's going to feel inspiring and fun and profitable and sustainable from a business perspective? And so I started with coming up with my core values that are going to drive my decisions and ideation and partnerships for the year ahead, both in my personal and professional life. So there's one set of values that span both, which I find to be kind of fun. And I will use this practice of creating my values, and then business strategies will flow from that annually. And so for me, having crafted these values, written them down on a Google document, described what they mean to me, that allows me to make better decisions as it relates to how and where I spend my time, both professionally and personally. So it just serves as a nice jumping off point and a reminder to what I want to take on and what I don't. I have such I believe, luxury that I'm so appreciative of in building this business that I get a lot of ideas and opportunities. And these values serve also as a filter for me to be able to say yes to the things that are really in alignment and light me up. And really importantly, allow me to say no to things that may seem, cool or fun or profitable on the surface. But if they don't check the box on these core things that are important to me, then they're relatively not worth my time versus the things that really do.
Thanks to everybody for listening to another episode of Warriors at Work and letting us be a part of your warrior journey. You can ask questions and make suggestions for future topics at jc@jeaniecoomber.com. Connect with me personally on LinkedIn and Instagram, and join us on the Warrior Conversations channel on YouTube and at the Warrior Magic Community page on Facebook. You can find links to all these places on my website, jeaniecoomber.com, and most importantly, be sure to tell friends about us, subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes, Spreaker, and Spotify. It helps others find the show and puts more warrior magic out into the world.